Okay folks, I'm just going to do a quick tutorial just covering the basics of animating within Flash. Two different types. We're going to be looking at frame by frame, pose to pose animation, and the second one we'll be looking at using a motion tween in order to be able to create some animation or movement. I'm just going to use some very simple basic shapes for the purpose of this animation. So to begin with, I'm going to create a circle which I will fill a colour. At the moment my alpha is right down at 0, so if I pull that back up again, you'll see that I've got the colour red. I'm going to hold down Shift and draw a circle, and this is what I'm going to be looking to animate. So what we'll do is I'll just name this circle and frame by frame. We're going to look at moving or animating this circle, travelling from the position it's in at the moment to the other side of the screen. In order to do this, what I'm going to do is take this keyframe of information that I've generated and simply just copy it and then paste the frames in place. So I now have a duplicate frame with the exact same information, this circle in the position that it's in. Okay, so what I can now do is use this second frame, this copied frame, and use either the click and drag on the mouse, so use the arrow keys on the keyboard to move the ball or the circle. And if I jump between the two frames, you'll notice that there is now movement. Now it would be a case of continuing to copy the frame, paste the frame, or use your shortcuts if you wish. Using the scrubber to go into the third frame and then move the position from the second point. So something like this. Okay. Now that can be quite tricky if you're trying to relay some kind of speed or weight to the object, which would have an effect on the distance the circle would travel between each of these frames. Okay, now running at 24 frames per second, and with this being our timeline, and it's important for us to think about how this is going to relate to the overall movement and speed. These are the two things that we can control: the time the animation will be running at, and obviously the distance. That's going to make or have an effect on the overall speed the ball is playing at. Okay, now in order to be able to help us see the previous frames, we can use the onion skin techniques. You have a couple of options here. Onion skin, you'll see a kind of ghost or more transparent representation of the image, or you can use outlines, and you'll see that's going to show you the outlines of the previous frames. These two handles up at the top here allow you to be able to control what you're looking at. So in this case, because my scrubber is lying over frame 1, all I can see is the outline of the frame, the second frame. If I move it back, you will see all the frames between this point. Similarly, I can move my scrubber, and at this point I can see the second frame, so that's what I'm above, and I can see the third frame using the outline. And if I want to make this ball move to the other side of the screen, I'm just going to use the copy frame and paste frame technique. Using my scrubber, I can see, using the onion skin outlines, the distance. At the moment I won't be able to see that because I'm currently sitting in the same place because it's a copied frame. But if I move, I can see the distance, and if I pull that right out, I will be able to see the difference. So at the moment I'm starting to gain distance between each position. If you look at the centre of the ball there, there and there, starting to increase very slightly, which would suggest that the distance increasing, the speed of the ball is increasing over the time frame of the period. Okay, so that's an example of using frame by frame animation to create movement. What I'll do is I'll just generate a new layer and I'll hide and lock the circle frame by frame. I'm going to turn off the onion skin outlines and just go back to the first frame. I'll just remove these at the moment because I don't need them. So I've got my blank keyframe and I'm going to just create another circle, and this is going to be my motion tween there. Okay, so when you grab my circle, what I'll do is I'll just change the colour of it. Hold down shift and I'm just drawing out a circle. Now, similarly, what I'm going to do is make the ball move, but we're going to use a lot less kind of copy and pasting the frames. We're going to let the computer work out the movement for us. So I'm going to copy this frame, similar to what we've done before, but instead of pasting it here, I know, or for the sake of this tutorial, I know that it's going to be a total of 1 second for the ball to get from this point here to this point here on the screen. Going by the frame rate that we're running at, 24 frames per second, that means that it's going to take 24 frames to equal 1 second of animation. So if I right click and paste frame, you'll notice that I now have a keyframe sitting at 24 frames, and if I hover my scrubber over the top of that, I'll notice that that's 1 second of animation. At the moment, there is no animation. Okay, what I need to do is grab this keyframe and tell the computer that this is going to be a change. And the moment all the information stored under this keyframe has been stretched for the 23 frames, on the 24th frame there is a singular keyframe which is going to allow us to change the properties and information, i.e. the position of this ball. So holding down shift, I'm just going to move the ball across like that. Now to test this, if I jump to the 23rd frame, what's going to happen is, as I said a minute ago, relaying all the information that's held within this one key. So if I right click anywhere in this grey area between the start point and the end point, if you like, and create classic tween, that is going to provide a motion tween. And you notice that the computer has worked out for us the animation. I'll play that, see it moving. Okay, now I can simply grab that frame if I wish, and I'll move it to 48 frames, which is now meaning 2 seconds. Now, if I play the animation, okay, the distance it's travelling is the same. The time it's taking is longer, so therefore the speed is then going to be affected in some cases. In this case, sorry, it's slowing down because the distance is the same, but it's taking a longer time to get there. Okay, so that's the difference between using motion tweens and frame by frame for movement. We'll do another short tutorial which will allow us to look at editing motion tweens and what you can do to these keyframes of information.